The images in the following program are highly sensitive and may be as disturbing to viewers as they were to us. However, we have to show the truth about animal cruelty.
Informed viewers, welcome to Animal World, our co-inhabitants. On today's episode of the Stop Animal Cruelty series, we will visit with Stephanie Brown, founder and director of the Canadian Coalition for Farm Animals, or CCFA. Ms. Brown, who follows a vegan or animal-free diet, has long worked to improve the lives of millions of voiceless animals in Canada, where approximately 696 million of our fellow beings are slaughtered each year for meat. The Coalition's members include many prominent Canadian animal welfare groups, such as the Calgary Animal Rights Coalition, the World Society for the Protection of Animals, and Voice for Animals, and represents more than 120,000 Canadians. The group seeks to raise awareness among Canadians about the horrors of factory farming in their country and around the world. We will now hear from Stephanie Brown about the Coalition's beginnings and the key issues on which the group is focusing.
In 2002, a number of people from across Canada got together and decided that nobody was focusing on the issue of farm animals the way they needed to, or we would really tell the realities that animals, particularly in intensive confinement, are subjected to. Even unfortunately, the humane movement didn't address the issues head on, so we decided that we would get together, form an organization, and deal with three main issues. Pregnant pigs in gestation crates, where they are in boxes, crates, barely larger than their own body, for their entire pregnancy, which could be 4 months, unable to turn around. The other issue is hens in battery cages. Here's a photo of a Canadian farm that is typical, where 98% of eggs in Canada are produced from hens kept in this kind of close confinement. And the other issue is transportation, where it's legal in Canada to transport cattle, for instance, sheep and goats, for 52 hours, plus another 5 hours of food withdrawal without food, water, or rest. So it's 57 hours legally to not provide any water even to animals. So we decided that we needed to talk to the world about this, and this is what we've done.
Chickens are lovely beings that care for each other very much, with roosters being ever vigilant in ensuring the safety of other flock members. Chickens are extremely intelligent as well. Speaking of their reasoning capacity, Dr. Chris Evans, director of the Centre for the Integrative Study of Animal Behavior at Macquarie University, Australia, states, "Perhaps most persuasive is the chicken's intriguing ability to understand that an object, when taken away and hidden, nevertheless continues to exist. This is beyond the capacity of small children." Sadly, despite the fact that they are loving, brilliant animals, according to the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization, in the year 2000, 43 billion chickens were killed worldwide for meat. Ms. Brown describes how these birds are callously raised by the meat industry.
So as they've grown from this tiny little chick to 6 weeks later when they're going to be slaughtered, naturally the space becomes smaller and smaller per bird. And so they are quite crowded. And they don't have a lot of space, and a lot of these meat birds suffer leg problems because of the weight. They're bred to have this large breast, and so this makes their bodies sort of unbalanced. Then they're grabbed up when the slaughter time comes. There's people called catchers who take the birds by their legs, hold them upside down, maybe 4 or 5 birds at a time, and they're pushed into these cages to be transported to the slaughter plant.
Ms. Brown describes the typically appalling end to the lives of factory farm chickens.
They're taken to the slaughter plants. Sometimes they wait hours to have their turn to be slaughtered, so they're waiting in trucks all crushed together in these very small containers. The birds are grabbed out of the travel containers and hung upside down on metal shackles. In terms of laying hens, they often have osteoporosis from having the calcium go into the eggs that they produce, so they've got broken bones, broken legs, broken wings. So they're hung upside down, and they're passed along into a water bath, which is supposed to stun them. Now, it doesn't stun them in terms of really making them unconscious. It's just to immobilize them. Mm-hmm. So they're still conscious.
Is this hot water?
It's hot water, yes. In many instances, when birds try to raise themselves, try to right their bodies, they miss the water tank. And so then next they go to a neck cutting machine to have their necks cut off so that they're bled out. Mm-hmm. But even sometimes with that step, the birds miss that step, if they've kept their head up. And then they go into a scalding tank, which is to remove their feathers. So birds, in some instances, go through these various processes, all again upside down, and they're still alive when they get to the scalding tank. So they're being drowned in this boiling water.
When we return, we'll have more from our interview with Stephanie Brown, founder and director of the Canadian Coalition for Farm Animals. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television.
The images in the following program are highly sensitive and may be as disturbing to viewers as they were to us. However, we have to show the truth about animal cruelty.
It's an issue that people perhaps don't want to know about, but slaughter is not a nice scene. If you've been to a slaughterhouse, it's awful. It's wrong. I mean, it's just appalling. It's frightening, frighteningly wrong. So people, I think, oftentimes don't want to sort of think about those aspects of what the food has gone through.
This is the Stop Animal Cruelty series on Supreme Master Television. We are interviewing Stephanie Brown, founder and director of the Canadian Coalition for Farm Animals, a nonprofit group actively working to improve the well-being of farmed animals in Canada and to inform the public about the atrocities occurring in factory farm operations. Though we don't think of horses as possible victims of such killing operations, in some countries, horses are regularly slaughtered for meat and for products such as glue. Ms. Brown provides more details on what is happening to our noble horse friends.
There is a big horse slaughter industry in this country. The United States has banned the slaughter of horses for meat. And as a result, there are still some horses that are being shipped out of the U.S. to Mexico and to Canada. Our horse slaughter has more than doubled in the last couple of years because of what's happened in the U.S. with horses. And horse slaughter, again, is a very ugly business. And we've been involved with an expose of a horse slaughter plant in New Dorf, Saskatchewan. And as the numbers